Before you scroll, before you click away, give me the next few minutes, because what you're about to hear sounds impossible in today's America. There's a couple living in northern Minnesota who haven't stepped inside a grocery store in 3 years. No Walmart runs, no Costco bulk shopping, no Amazon grocery deliveries, no emergency milk trips at 9 p.m. And it's not because they can't afford it, it's because they don't need to. They grow 95% of the food they eat, and by the end of this video, you might start questioning how dependent modern life has made all of us. So stay with me, watch this until the end, because the most important part of this story isn't at the beginning, it's at the conclusion. This is Origins of Earth Vault, where we explore real stories of resilience, survival, and the hidden systems that shape our world. If stories like this matter to you, make sure you subscribe and be part of this growing community. Now, let's step into a different way of living. Years ago, this couple lived a life that looked like everyone else's. Busy schedules, weekly grocery trips, packed parking lots, checkout lines, receipts stuffed into wallets. Food was something you bought, not something you built. But in 2006, something small happened that quietly changed everything. They planted a garden. Not a farm, not a homestead, just a modest backyard vegetable patch. Tomatoes, potatoes, onions, a few herbs, simple crops. At first, it was curiosity. Maybe it would taste better. Maybe it would save a little money. But then they harvested their first real meal. There is something powerful about pulling food from the soil with your own hands. It doesn't feel transactional, it feels earned. The flavor was deeper, fresher, real. And more importantly, it sparked a question. What if we grew more? That question didn't explode overnight. It grew slowly, season by season. They expanded their garden, learned about composting, soil health, crop rotation, timing, storage. They failed too. Crops died unexpectedly, pests invaded, weather refused to cooperate. Some seasons were disappointing, but here's what most people misunderstand about self-sufficiency. Failure is part of the education. Every mistake made them better. By 2013, they were ready for something bigger. They purchased a 5-acre homestead. 5 acres changes your mindset. Suddenly, you're not gardening, you're planning survival seasons. Because Minnesota is not forgiving. The summers are beautiful but short. Winters are long, freezing, relentless. If you don't prepare during the growing season, winter will expose every weakness. So they learned preservation. Canning became routine. Shelves filled with jars of vegetables. Potatoes were cured and stored carefully. Onions dried before being packed away. Squash lined storage spaces. Food wasn't just harvested, it was secured for the future. Year after year, their grocery trips became less frequent. Year after year, their confidence grew, until they made a decision most people would call extreme. They left the city. Completely. They purchased 240 acres of land in northern Minnesota. 240 acres. That's not just property. That's responsibility, that's commitment, that's risk, but it's also freedom. On that land, they built systems, large crop rotations, seasonal planning, storage strategies, soil regeneration, efficient layouts. They weren't experimenting anymore, they were building food security. Today, 95% of everything they eat comes from their land. Think about that. Almost every meal begins in their own soil. Potatoes stretching in long rows, onions harvested and cured, broccoli thriving in cool weather, squash stored deep into winter, beans, herbs, root vegetables carefully timed for maximum yield. But let's be clear, this isn't romantic social media farming. This is daily discipline. Their mornings begin early. Before sunrise, they assess weather conditions, check irrigation, walk crop rows, inspect for pests, repair fences, maintain tools. Farming doesn't wait for motivation. In peak harvest season, the workload intensifies.
Vegetables must be picked at exactly the right time. Too early affects flavor. Too late affects storage life. Then comes preservation. Jars sterilized, produce chopped, lids sealed, shelves filling slowly with colors that represent future survival. Each jar means security during winter. Each shelf represents independence. And here's why this story matters right now. We live in a system built on long supply chains. Food travels thousands of miles, disruptions happen, prices rise, shelves empty faster than we expect. Most of us saw that reality not long ago. But when your food grows steps from your kitchen, your vulnerability shrinks. Self-sufficiency isn't about isolation, it's about resilience. Winter in Minnesota tests everything. Snow blankets the land. Temperatures drop below zero. The growing season ends abruptly. For months, nothing new grows. Winter reveals whether preparation was enough. Those jars, essential. Stored potatoes, critical. Dried onions, necessary. There is something deeply humbling about eating in January what you planted in May. It changes how you see time. It changes how you value effort. But let's talk about the hard truth. This life is not easy. There are failed crops, unexpected storms, equipment breakdowns, physical exhaustion, financial uncertainty, doubt. Some seasons don't go as planned. But every hardship builds competence, and competence builds confidence. Over time, they've refined everything. Compost cycles nutrients back into the soil. Crop rotation protects long-term fertility. Seeds are selected intentionally. Mistakes become strategy. Their meals follow the rhythm of seasons. Summer brings abundance. Winter demands creativity. Modern grocery stores offer year-round access to everything. Strawberries in December, avocados anytime, infinite choice. But convenience often creates disconnection. This couple chose reconnection, to soil, to process, to patience. 3 years without stepping inside a grocery store is not a publicity stunt. It's the result of more than a decade of preparation. And if you're still watching, this is where it gets personal. Could you grow even 10% of your own food? Not 95%, just 10. Because remember, they started with a small backyard garden. Self-sufficiency doesn't begin with 240 acres. It begins with one decision. From curiosity to practice, to skill, to independence. As the sun sets over their Minnesota fields, golden light stretches across rows of crops. The day's work slows. There is exhaustion, but also peace. They traded convenience for capability, speed for sustainability, dependence for preparation, and in doing so, they gained something rare: options. The option not to panic when shelves empty, the option not to stress when prices rise, the option to rely on themselves. If this story resonates with you, this is exactly why Origins of Earth Vault exists, to uncover stories that challenge how we see the world and how we live in it. If you haven't already, subscribe to Origins of Earth Vault and turn on notifications, because the next story might change how you see something even bigger. And before this video ends, ask yourself one question: how dependent do you want to be? You may never own 240 acres, but maybe you'll plant tomatoes this spring. Maybe you'll learn to preserve food. Maybe you'll pay closer attention to what sustains you. The next time you push a grocery cart down a brightly lit aisle, remember this: somewhere in rural Minnesota, dinner is being prepared from food that never passed through a barcode scanner. No receipt, no checkout, just soil, patience, and intention turned into nourishment. They haven't visited a grocery store in 3 years, not because they're extreme, but because they prepared, and preparation creates freedom. This is Origins of Earth Vault, and sometimes the most powerful revolutions don't start in cities, they start in the soil.